Because this one time, secret time for those who don't fully know, like you, Blake,
Yeah.
we did an entire fucking episode with a guest, and I never hit record.
Ooh. So
But
you
the
guys
guest was
re-recorded?
so
Over again.
legendary that he literally was like, "All right, well, I guess brief intermission, and we'll go back at it." And then we did,
and then the
another,
entire episode.
we did like 5 hours of recording. It was crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's fucking crazy.
The entire episode. Again, he gave Sean shit the whole
Yeah, he was
episode. Like,
kinda
hey man,
acting
did you
Sean.
record it? Is it recording?
yeah. Like I said in the last episode that nobody's gonna hear. So yeah, thanks to Gina. That will never be a problem again because she makes sure that we know. So with all of that, I think it's time we get into a show. What do you say, guys?
Yeah, I'm done.
All
Let's
right.
go.
Yeah.
All right, it's time to Shedtime podcast in 3, 2, go.
Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to Shedtime. What is Shedtime, you ask? Well, it's code for the consumption of cannabis, but it's much more than that. Shedtime's a state of mind. It's art, it's music, it's cryptocurrency, technology, it's food, it's vaping. It can be whatever you want it to be, as long as you're not letting the bastards get you down, not being a dick, and making it fun. When you're in the shed, it's whatever your mind allows you to create. So now let's get to the Shedtime podcast.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, guys. Coming in hot today because I am ready to go. I am all hyped up. This is going to be a good one. So I hope you guys are ready to have some energetic conversations in your ear holes. Because today I brought a friend of mine, my man Blake. Blake is a man of many talents. But today we want to talk about the fact that my man's is a personal trainer and has his own fitness app and is also going to be launching a podcast soon. So, Blake, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I caught it. I've been listening up on a couple episodes. As I said before, you guys have a great give and take, good chemistry. I think you guys have a real special thing here, and I'm very happy to contribute.
Dude, we appreciate that.
Absolutely, man. That means a lot, dude.
Yeah.
We really don't hear a lot of, at least I don't hear a lot of feedback about the show a lot. Partially because I don't ask, because I kind of don't want to know, because I don't want someone to be like, oh, dude, it's terrible. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's nice to hear. It's nice to hear good things that people actually enjoy and that we do have, like, because we see it because we're here all the time. You know what I mean? It's like we know what the vibe's like, but we just hope it comes across the same. And sounds like it does, which is sick.
Yeah, for real. And I mean, it does pay that we had all that prior experience with the green room before we launched.
Yeah, we've got 4 years of this stuff under our belt.
Yeah,
I checked out you guys' website. You guys got some good stuff on your website too.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
I did my little bit of homework, but as someone that's listened to thousands of hours of podcasts, I got to be honest, I didn't know what to expect when you approached me, Sean. So I was like, okay, this guy's definitely good on camera. He's well spoken, and I didn't know you other guys. You know what I mean? So. When I checked it out and I got on the treadmill yesterday and today to pop it in, I was walking the dog. I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay. All right. We're in business. You know what I mean? So I'll be tuning in. I think you guys have over 150 episodes, right?
Somewhere around there. I'm not even sure.
Over 100. I think we hit 100 right before the start of 2023. So yeah, we just broke the 100 mark. That maybe we're like maybe 110 to 115 now.
Maybe I saw 115 or so. I thought there was a 5 in there, but
there could be a 5 in there right now. I'm not 100% sure.
I wouldn't doubt it, man.
Yeah, it's been a grind, brother. But that's very cool too, because like we've always explained it that what we do is we basically have a sesh, and now you're invited into the stoners conversation. And it is so all over the place. I mean, at the time that we're recording this, the new episode that is about to drop, we recorded and talked about cannabis infused beverages because like the buzzy drinks had just shown up on our market. So like we were talking about that, but we were also talking about the conspiracy that the NFL might be scripted.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's a good one.
Dude.
Yeah.
Dude, let me tell you, bro. That whole, because we literally recorded that episode the morning before the Super Bowl. And So I went down to a buddy's house and I literally had the little conversation that we had here on the podcast with him as the game was like, starting, and the whole game, bro, we were just sitting there watching it. And like, when something would happen, we would look at each other, be like, bro,
That's it.
is this
They
it?
say the blue phone's ringing. That's what they call
Yeah,
it. You know
exactly,
what I mean?
dude.
When Vegas calls.
I'm like, dude, and then it got down to the end and the score was pretty fucking close, I think, to what it was supposed to be. And me and him were looking at each other like, dude, it might be true, man. It might be true.
Well,
I was
here's
like,
the thing, right? The professional conspiracy theorist will say, but the reason that the score is, I think it's like 3 points different, is because
It was the wrong team winning too, I think. But
Yeah,
the score was
and-
very, very close. Yeah.
and that's all because of the fact that word leaked and the story is out, and now it is a conspiracy. So we have to cover our ass and hide the evidence. So we had to
It's
change.
like last second. It's an audible.
Listen,
It's an
yeah,
audible by
exactly.
the NFL.
yeah,
We gotta
Omaha.
Exactly.
You know what got me on that?
Literally.
So the NFL, I was listening to some guys talking about the same thing, and they're listed as an entertainment company. So that's kind of like could be their loophole of it being like scripted. You know what I mean? But the non-conspiracy theorist in me, I think there's a lot of loose ends there. Like, how has there not been a whistleblower at this point? You know what I mean? It's not like the Clintons assassinated them too. You know what I mean? So it's to drop,
No, it's true. Like, you never heard
Hey,
of
man,
like,
but
you like that
who
shot.
knows? Who knows?
you never heard of like weird murders, you know? Like
I'm
it's
just
like
saying,
ex NFL are murdered. Like,
There's
you
a
don't
lot
hear
of
about that.
NFL players who are in jail now for some terrible
Ooh, okay,
acts that belong in jail. But what if they were framed? It's all
Yeah, but dude, like honestly, I think that like so much of like the negativity that comes from like retired football players is like a lot of them are just like they suffer from CTE and shit. Like, not to be like super like dark or anything, but like
No,
but
like,
you're
a
right.
lot of this
You're
stuff
definitely
is
not
like
wrong
that
there.
But
mental
you're right.
illness, right? Like there's a lot of mental illness and all that, and like it's all the head trauma. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a fucking doctor. I don't know, but like I can only assume that that's what happens.
Well,
Because like there's movies made about it that are real, right? Like the concussion, like that's a real movie. Like I'm not saying that everything that Will Smith did in the movie exactly happened in real life. It was probably fucking way worse. Like they probably cleaned
Probably
it up.
was.
You know what I mean? So I don't know.
I mean, Chris
there is a
Benoit, dude.
possibility that all that shit's scripted. I mean, is it wild to think about? Yeah, it's wild to think about, but so is fucking religion. So like, who am I to say that? It's
Ooh,
real?
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
got him.
Yeah.
That's so true. But it's a great point. But it's a great segue actually, because the kind of safety that needs to be had when taking on physical activity is where someone like Blake really does come in, and that's that whole personal training thing. And I mean, shit. I don't even know. Like, how do you get into that? Obviously, like you enjoy fitness first, but how do you actually become a personal trainer?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a couple different avenues. Probably the best and most classic would be a degree in exercise science from like university. I didn't go that route. I went to school for communication. I did play soccer in college. I've always been an athlete. I've been training formally for about 2 years, but more informally, much longer than that. Ever since I was like 13, being in and out of gyms. And then the last 15 years, I was in and out of the restaurant business, managing restaurants. And then finally I was like, fuck this. I've had enough. I want to do what I'm passionate about. So there's a couple online certifications that you can do. There's ISSA, there's ACE, and then there's NASM, which is the National Academy of Sports Medicine, which is a very popular one, nationally credited, which is the one that I did. So, most of the stuff is online, but if you're someone that's thinking about being a trainer and you're younger and you don't have at least a little bit of hands-on experience with some of your friends or your parents or something like that, if you haven't kind of been shown the ropes, then definitely go the more hands-on route of getting a degree in exercise science, because you're going to learn a lot more than you do from like a NASM. We live in the information age, you know what I mean? And where I come in, more is more of a fitness advisor and consultant than a trainer, to be honest with you. Because fitness is so nuanced, there's a lot of great information on the internet and there's a lot of shitty information on the internet. So what I'm trying to do is really bridge the gap between expensive interpersonal training at a gym, which I mean, I do have a small studio, and generic programming like a Peloton app. So where my software comes in is you get to work out on your own. It's cost effective, but you're getting the guidance. You're getting a scientifically designed program that's catered to meet your needs versus just logging onto YouTube and being like, let me do my favorite influencers routine.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not your favorite influencer. You know what I mean? So you should do something that's more appropriate for you.
And that's so true. Cause like I watch Chris Harrier and I'm like, dude, like I can't do 99% of the things that dude can do. There's no way I could follow his routine. Like,
well, that, and there's just so many different, body types, and people are built so differently that, one workout's not going to work the same for someone else. And they may need this workout where this other person may not, you know what I mean? It's just like finding that
100%.
perfect mix to cater for your needs, like you're saying. Cause, some people, they might have problem areas in other spots than the next person will. And, if they're doing the same workout, you may not be able to address those problem issues because you're working on something completely different instead of what you should.
Well, everybody's got like different levels of like fitness already, right? Like, so like if James were to start something and I were to start something at the same time, like we're obviously going to be doing different things. We're obviously going to be like working towards different things. And as like we both progress, we'll have to like adapt, and I would assume change what we're doing in order to continue to improve. And it's like a lot of those things. So it's like interesting to hear like the angle that you're taking, or you're saying, right? Because like, yeah, I could go start Peloton and like I could show up and they're like, you've done 50 weeks in a row. And like you feel good about yourself. But at the end of the day, like maybe I could be getting more than just using Peloton. Or maybe I can do more than just like going to the gym and like trying to lift weights and riding the exercise bike for 30 minutes. Like there's probably things that I'd have to adapt in order to continue to get stronger and be more fit. Like, is that a fair assumption? Like I would assume that that's how things work.
Yeah, dude. I mean, honestly, you hit the nail on the head, and you said this one key word a couple times that I love is adapt. Because when you're going to a gym, that's what you're doing is you're sending a signal to your body that forces an adaptation. And yes, if you do the same thing over and over again, that signal, okay, so that's what building muscle is all about, sending a signal. That's what you go to the gym to do. You know what I mean? You don't actually get stronger at the gym. You know what I mean? You get stronger while you sleep. So if you say you go to the gym, you haven't been in 10 years and you want to get back at it, and you have a Peloton workout that you like, and it's a strength-based workout, which is great. You go back to the gym, you do that workout, that signal is going to be real high that first day, that first week, that first month. But the more you do that, the body's going to adapt, like you were saying, and over time it's going to become less and less effective. You know what I mean? So yeah, aside from people not knowing which direction to go in because they haven't had a consultation with someone and they don't know where to find the information, once they do find something that works for them, you know what I mean? If they click onto that too long, then yeah, it's going to lose its effectiveness. So I program for people in different phases. So typically every 3 to 5 weeks, my clients get a new program or a new phase within a larger program.
And
okay, that makes sense.
And I mean, it in my experience, I'm somebody who's only been back in the gym now for I'd say 5 or 6 months. I think it is at this point. I'm not fully keeping track. I find that my experience is very much that way as well, because I'm learning now that there are varying levels of the exercise you choose, and so I can do something that's a lot more isometric, that like a bicep curl that's really just going to hyper focus on a bicep, or I can do a cable pull, which is still going to incorporate my biceps, but it's going to work my shoulders, my triceps, and the whole arm, and including my back, and incorporate a whole lot more muscle groups. And I think what's interesting is something else that Chris said that's great is that it's all about your end goal. We're going to be working towards different goals. And that is, I think, the first step, right? Like, I think people need to define what the end goal is. Do you want to be ripped like Arnold Schwarzenegger? Or do you just want to, not get winded when you run up a flight of stairs?
I have a question real quick too, because this is something that I've been kind of like looking into myself, because I've been trying to, wanting to get back on top of my fitness and just my overall just health in general. from what I understand, a lot of people tend to go at it wrong, and they think that best way to go in to either, build muscle or, lose weight or things like that is to go in and start hitting the gym and start lifting and start doing all these things. When in reality, where they should be starting is with their diet and their sleep. Like getting those two things under control first before going in and trying to hit the gym and start lifting crazy weights. Because if you're not eating well and not recovering well, you're not going to doing all that work in the gym's not going to get you the results that you're looking for. From what I've been understanding from doing a little bit of research that I've been doing lately, is that something that's true?
Yeah, dude. Damn, yeah, you guys have been doing your homework. I love that. So yeah, dude. I mean, it's the trifecta. Okay, so you have let's say our general goal is to lose a little bit of weight and build our physique. And with all that being said, we want to be healthier too. You know what I mean? Yes, you have the trifecta. So that signal I was talking about, you need your hormetic stressor, okay, which is going to the gym and sending a signal to your body to adapt. All right. So you want to build a house, that's your blueprint. You know what I mean? And then you need your materials delivered. That's going to be your nutrition, like what you were just saying. And then you need time for the guys to come in and bang the nails. That's when you sleep. So that's your big three. If your sleep's off, then yes, it's going to affect your exercise routine because you're not going to recover as well. Your hormones aren't going to reset and you're just going to have less energy. You know what I mean? If your diet's off, then you're not going to have the proper fuel to do one or the other. And the thing is, they all interact with one another. So to your original question about just going in and banging weights, the reason a lot of people do that is because your exercise program is actually one of the more simple of the three. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get a good blueprint, like a 3-month program. It's like, okay, this is 1 hour a day that I'm doing this. Well, shit, the other 23 hours of the fucking day, I got to either be sleeping or eating right. You know what I mean? So fitness is nuance, but diet and sleep are even more. But yeah, dude, those three things you nailed. And, back to what Sean was saying with like your goals, establishing your goal first.
I'm going to actually highlight you because I forgot that like normally I put this in a full screen for our viewers and I'm like, shit, I got to highlight you for this because this is, I can already tell this is about to be super important. So, so this way everybody can like hyper focus on what you're saying. So all right, now continue.
Yeah, no problem. So yes, you want to establish your goals first. So if your goal, which a lot of my clients are general population ages 25 to 55, and they're like, you know what? I want to be able to have some beers on the weekend with the boys. You know what I mean? But I want getting in and out of my truck to feel better. And I want to have more vitality. And let's be real, we all want to look good naked, right? Everyone wants to look good naked. So you take those goals and you kind of have seasons within your lifting program. So like you should go for longevity, which is general health, aesthetics, which is mostly how you look, you know what I mean? Or performance. So if you pick one of those three, then that's going to have a different, trust me, there's more goals than that. Those are just a couple of good camps to put them in. Yeah. So if somebody's focus is longevity, then 100%, we want to start with their nutrition and their sleep. And what a lot of people don't realize, to kind of piggyback on where you start with that, is you don't have to go to the gym 5 or 6 days a week. You know what I mean? If you spend majority of your time dialing in your nutrition and your sleep, that alone is going to have major benefits on your health. It's going to make you feel more vital. It's going to make your life easier. You know what I mean? And then you tie in just 2 days of strength training. You know what I mean? Like for longevity, you don't need much more than that, especially to start. I've had clients that work out 2 days a week, for the first year, and then they dial in their nutrition and sleep and they start to get results. Now, they're not going to come on as quick as someone that's in there 3 to 5 days a week, but that's not appropriate for everyone. You know what I mean? So did I answer your question? The original question there?
That definitely answered some questions for me, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, and we'll get into stuff too about, how to structure a program. I'll touch on some of those points as the conversation develops. Because I'm sure the listeners are gonna be like, all right, what the hell do I do?
I think that is like a perfect point to just get to right now, which is like, all right, let's just say that, we want to tomorrow take this whole thing seriously now. We want to, we've made that decision. So tomorrow I'm going to get up and I'm going to start living my life healthier. What can you walk us through, like what you think are the first important things that those people should start doing? Like, let's get that person through that first week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Making that decision.
Yeah. So the first thing that we're going to do and that you should do is a little check in with yourself. You know what I mean? So you don't have to necessarily track your calories. Okay. That's going to be more goal dependent. But if I'm a GPS and I'm telling you where to go, I need to find your fucking location. So I need to know where you're at. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, how many steps are you walking a day? Get a little Fitbit, get a $20 Fitbit. You know what I mean? That way we can track some of this data. But where will we start? Well, we'd start with tracking our habits as they are now. So I guess hypothetically, we already did that. You know what I mean? So if someone's like, yeah, I investigated, I'm eating 4,000 calories a day. I'm not getting enough protein. My sleep is shit. I'm only getting 4,000 steps a day and I've never been to a gym. All right, let's get you going. Okay. So the first thing that you want to understand is that for weight loss, okay, doing a bunch of cardio and cutting your calories in half is the worst thing you can do. So let's just get that out right out in the open. Okay. And when I say cardio, I mean like that steady state jogging. You know what I mean? You can walk as much as you want. We'll talk about walking at some point because it's literally the best exercise on the planet. But you don't want to do that cardio because what happens is when you do something like steady state cardio as your primary focus for weight loss, okay, you are signaling the body to become very efficient, back to that adaptation. So what happens when someone does cardio? The first week, it's a bitch to run a mile. And then the second week, they can run a mile and a half. And within 4 weeks, they can run up to like 3 miles. You know what I mean? Well, the problem with that is the body's signaling that signal, and that signal is getting weaker and weaker. And you can't run 20 miles a day. You know what I mean? So you're training your body to be very efficient with your type 2 muscles, which are like, your stabilizer muscles. They don't generate a lot of force like if you were to do a sprint or a squat. So you don't want to do that. And then when you cut your calories in half, what you're doing is you're signaling your metabolism to basically become more efficient as well. We don't want a Prius for a metabolism. We want a V8. You know what I mean? We want to be able to eat. We want to be able to go out to eat on the weekends. You know what I mean? We want to have a couple beers and not have to worry about running 5 miles to work it off. You know what I mean? So to kind of tie this into where you start, well, a lot of people will start just on the treadmill. So we don't want to do that. To highlight the main point here, we want to do strength training, some form of resistance training, which just means it could be weight. You know what I mean? It could be banging weights. It could be bands. It could be calisthenics, anything that's putting resistance on your body. Okay. So what does a resistance training routine look like? Well, depending upon their schedule. So let's say, they're a 9 to 5 individual. They have 2 kids, you know what I mean? Pretty busy. And they can only make it in the gym 2 days a week for an hour. Perfect. What I would instruct them to do is 2 total body workouts, because a lot of people get into split routines, which is like chest one day, back one day, shoulders one day. Well, if you're not someone that can make it in there 5 days a week, and your program's designed that way, well, most guys are going to skip leg day because that's just how dudes are. You know what I mean?
Dude.
So
Yeah,
We all know what that looks like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sucks, bro. I walked out of there with the fucking giraffe legs, like
So you want to focus on a full body workout, especially when you're starting off, because remember that signal I was talking about? Well, no matter what you do, really, you're going to get that high signal when you first start off. So what does a full body workout look like? You know what I mean? There's basically 6 different directions you want to go in. And I'll try to make this as listener friendly as I can for the people that can't see. So you're going to have your push day. Okay. So your push muscles, think the front of you. You're going to have a horizontal push for your chest. You're going to have a vertical push for the shoulders. And you're going to have some kind of pressing for the quads. That's the front of the body. Okay. Then you have the back of the body. You want some kind of horizontal pull, some kind of vertical pull, and then something for your hamstrings like a deadlift or a leg curl. If you can hit those 6 areas, okay, so if they did that just twice a week, the same workout, that would be an amazing place to start. And that program right there will be 80% of beginners, better than 80% of beginners programs that go in there with like a bodybuilder split. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We're in an interesting time in fitness because through the 70s, 80s, and 90s, we had we had the Arnold Schwarzeneggers, the Franco Columbos, and then like the Rodney Colemans. Those are some big names everyone's heard of, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that bodybuilding culture is such an extreme area of fitness that it's actually not healthy at all. You know what I mean? Most bodybuilders in that realm are not healthy. But what happened? We carried that through the 90s, and then 2005, we had the gym explosion, kind of like the cannabis explosion now. You know what I mean? Think about how old are you guys? Were you around in the 90s? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was no Workout World. There was no Planet Fitness. There was no Anytime Fitness.
Yeah, no, you
But
had
now there's one
get
on
a
every
Gold
corner.
membership, and that was basically your option, or some like random street.
Yeah, like a community center might have had a gym.
Yeah.
A Y
Yeah.
membership, maybe.
A YMCA.
Yep.
So that whole bodybuilder culture of those bro splits, you know what I mean? Like those big puffy motherfuckers. All right. That whole culture transitioned into the gym boom of the early 2000s. So that's why when you walk up to someone and you go, hey, like, what are you doing? They're like, oh, I'm doing chest and shoulders. Like, oh, cool. Like, how many reps are you doing? I'm doing 8 to 10. It's like, well, why? Why? You ever ask anyone why they do 8 to 10 reps?
Because
Do you guys know why people do that?
Because they're trying to max.
Yeah.
I figured that they're just trying to like get bulky, like quick. Like I have no idea.
So that's the thing. So 8 to 12 reps is going to be your hypertrophy zone for most people. Now, let me disclose this too. If you're listening to this and you're like, no, that's not me or something like that, and it probably isn't. Like I said, fitness is super nuanced. So all the things I'm talking about right now are generalizations. You know what I mean? They could apply or not apply to anybody. I should have said that from the beginning. You know what I mean? But hypertrophy is a form of resistance training that's designed to make your muscle bellies look fuller. That grows them. You know what I mean? That's why bodybuilders do it. You ever notice how sculpted a bodybuilder is?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everything pops out. And then think of a power lifter. So a power lifter is usually a lot thicker. You know what I mean? They almost look like you could hit them with a fucking bat and they wouldn't move.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So they train more in a strength realm, which is like that 1 to 5 reps. You know what I mean? So the power lifter is cool. Everyone wants to be strong, but it's not a desirable look, so to speak, for a lot of people. So when the gyms all opened up, everyone's like, oh, I want aesthetics. I want to look sexy. You know what I mean? So that's why the bodybuilder hypertrophy realm is what's so popular in gyms today. And then you get up into the 12 to 16 reps. That's endurance training. That's what women have been tricked into doing. Oh, I'm sculpting. I need to do 15 to 20 reps. You know what I mean? No, you don't need to do that. Everything has its place. You should phase through all of these. But just because you lift heavy for 4 to 6 weeks doesn't mean you're going to look like a power lifter. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But that's an interesting thing. Like, I think something that happens to a lot of people when they start this process is that discouragement, right? Because they think that after 6 months they're gonna be sculpted like that, like that bodybuilder, and that transformation is a long road.
Yeah. Oh,
A
yeah.
lot of people, it's gonna take them 5, even 10 years before that fully sculpted look happens. And that takes discipline.
And let's be honest too, a majority of those guys aren't 100% natural. You know what I mean? They've got
No, but they
Nailed
probably
it.
still look pretty good.
they've
though.
got
like,
something else going on to help them get to those points, because there's like, not saying that it's impossible, but you're gonna have to have some crazy genetics and have to fucking put in crazy amounts of work to look that good.
Well, that's the thing.
You're
Right?
100% right.
We look at the magazines and you look at, like, your builders on YouTube and Instagram and stuff. Like, that's their job. Like I brought up Chris Harrier. This dude's in the gym 3 times a fucking day, 5 days a week. Like,
Actually, I got something to piggyback on that. You know what? This is a dirty trick of the fitness realm. All right. So the magazines you're talking about, if they're trying to sell like a shredding supplement, you know what I mean? What they'll do is they'll go to a bodybuilding competition. They'll grab one of the top 3 guys off stage and they say, hey, you're going to be a brand ambassador for a Nova Farm pump. Okay. They're like, all right, word. So they go, okay, meet us tomorrow. They're going to take photos of them right the day after their fucking competition. So they're in the most unhealthy. They're in single digit body fat. No one walks around like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's that day. They take pictures and then they say, okay, come back in 2 weeks when you look quote unquote normal, which is what a lot of us would desire to look like anyway. So they bring them back, they take the pictures, and then they sell that as the before and afters when really it was the reverse.
yep,
You know what I mean?
yep.
And the influencers, they'll do a lot of batch content. So influencers, what they'll do is they'll get to that low digit, very unhealthy body fat, and they'll film a bunch of content and they'll do that, and then they'll drip it through the year. And I mean, to be 8% body fat, which is like really where you start to see a lot of, you know, the striations in the muscle and things like that, is not healthy. Men's body fat for optimization, okay, is between 10 and 15, and there's a huge individual variance. But most of the American guidelines are 18 to 22%. But just like the food pyramid, you know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying you can't be healthy at 18% body fat. Everybody's different. You know what I mean? But for hormone levels and things like that, that 10 to 15 tends to be the best for longevity and general health, testosterone, things like that. Women, different. Women's like should be like 20 to 24 or 26 or something. I don't really remember off the top of my head, but if you're a woman listening to this and you're like, I cannot get down to that. No. After like 16% is when women will start to see their cycle get messed up and things like that. And that's where, you know, that's a huge signal that things aren't going right in your body and it needs more nutrition, because your fat is actually an organ. People don't realize that your fat is an organ, and it has a lot to do with your hormone production.
You know, that's an interesting point.
Crazy.
Food, again, food is the fuel, and that body fat is part of the fuel of the body. And
well, it's where everything gets stored.
You know, that's it. And it is something that I think a lot of us in this world today, we understand nutrition through the lens of fad diets. You know, and we think that a lot of these fad diets, that's what nutrition has to look like. And like something that I've really learned is that like that's not the case, because there are, you know, outstanding, you know, healthy, you know, incredibly strong people that eat what they want. They've just learned to moderate all of it. You eat 1 or 2 slices of pizza, not the whole pizza, not half the pizza.
Wait. You're telling me I can't eat the whole pizza, bro? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, you can. It just depends on the size. If it's a little personal pan chopper, then yeah, have
honestly,
either.
that's my fucking big trouble area, bro. Is my fucking nutrition. It is so bad, bro. So bad.
Yeah, 5 monsters.
Dude, it's hard to eat things you don't like.
Gummy bears is not nutritional.
No, dude, it's so bad.
You know,
I'm running on fumes over here, man.
Yeah, let's talk about food, dude. I mean, Sean, me and you talk about food at work occasionally. You know what I mean? I'm always telling you about my stupid high protein meals, but that's another thing. The American guidelines on protein are so off. You know what I mean? And that's why we're seeing issues with, you know, osteopenia, which is, you know, the precursor to osteoporosis for older populations, which just means they have low bone density. A lot of that comes from, you know, a sedentary lifestyle and, you know, lack of protein. Now, you know, our grandparents didn't really live that sedentary of a lifestyle. Things were a little different, you know what I mean? But if you look at the food pyramid, there's a direct correlation. Now, correlation is not always causation, okay? But if you look at when the food pyramid came out, that's when obesity skyrocketed. If you look back to the 70s and shit like that, obesity was not a problem. You know what I mean? This is a new issue. And it's because hyperpalatable foods are designed in a lab to be addictive. So it's not everyone's fault for crushing the whole bag of Cheetos. There's literally a panel of scientists designing that to make you fucking do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we are, you know, drastically under consuming protein and not moving our bodies, and not, you know, no one's, you know, a lot of people are working from home and no one's even going on walks. You know what I'm saying? But to touch base on, you know, why you don't feel good and you're running on fumes, you know what I mean? You are what you eat.
100%. Yeah.
I hate that that's a thing, because it's so true, but it's such a commonly said thing that no one ever really stops to think like, holy shit, what I'm eating right now is going to become my cells. It's going to become my tissues. You know what I mean? It's going to become my skin. Like, everything's always regenerating. Where do you think you get the materials from? You know what I mean? So, but you know, Sean, you talked about fad diets. Oof, don't get me started on those. Like,
that's why I brought it up, because I knew.
So I think that there's a time and a place for every exercise, and I think there's a time and a place for every diet. You know what I mean? And when people say like, "Oh, I did keto before and I want to do it again because it worked for me," and it's like, well, if it worked for you, you'd still be doing it. You know what I mean? That didn't work for you if you put 40 pounds back on after you lost 30. You know what I'm saying? But when you have these extreme diets, like keto's one of them, carnivore's another one, and dare do I say it, veganism's another one. You know what I mean? Now,
Don't come
I
after
thought
us.
you were going there, and I love it.
Don't come
For some
after us.
reason,
No,
I
I'm
was
just
like,
kidding.
he's gonna
No,
say it. He's
nope.
gonna say it.
No
Dude, I
problem with
agree.
vegans. No problem with vegans. No problem with carnivore diet or keto or paleo. But the problem is, if you're the type of individual that can't even get 100 fucking ounces of water in a day, okay, if you're not disciplined enough to drink your life force, water, okay, and you want to go ahead and negate and pick a diet and negate a whole category of food, okay, whether that be meat, whether that be vegetables, whatever the hell you want to cut out, you are putting yourself at a severe disadvantage. You know what I mean? Statistics prove it's hard enough for us to get enough nutrition in with the way that the soil basically has no nutrition to it now. That's why supplementation is huge for a lot of people. You know what I mean? So even if you do eat clean, chances are you're magnesium deficient. Chances are you're vitamin D deficient. You know what I mean? But when you pigeonhole yourself in an extreme diet like carnivore or veganism, you know what I mean? You're just limiting your resources. So if you're not someone that's extremely disciplined, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. Now, you know, keto is great if you have insulin resistance, you know what I mean? And you're on the verge of being a type 2 diabetic and you want to basically try to become more insulin sensitive. I think keto is great to try, you know what I mean? But there's a right and a wrong way to do keto. If you love animals and you don't want to eat them, and that's why you're a vegan, actually, they have the highest rate of success among all vegans is vegans that do it because of animals, not for health. Because you can be a vegan and be very unhealthy. You know what I mean? Not to mention it's extremely hard. And for all the vegans out there, it's possible. You can do it, but you have to be more disciplined to get the amount of protein you need because there's very little resources that have complete protein that are vegan. And they're even less bioavailable when you do eat them.
How much
You know what I mean? So
flaxseed and hemp can you eat?
So hemp is a complete protein, actually. That, quinoa, soy are all complete sources of vegan protein. But here's the problem. Hemp is only 20% bioavailable. Okay. So that means if you eat 100 grams of hemp protein, which good fucking luck doing that, you know what I mean? You're probably only really going to use 20, up to 20, 30% of that versus something like beef is like 70% or 80% bioavailable. And that's going to have your protein, not to mention it's going to have healthy fat in it too. Because what a lot of people don't realize is carbohydrates are non-essential. You can live without carbs. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you should, but you can. So fat and protein are really the only macronutrients that you need to get. And that's why like something like keto works.
See, and the carbs is another interesting thing because like when you brought up the food pyramid, right? What is the base of that pyramid but the carbs, the breads?
The loaf of bread that's on there, yeah.
And what's fucked up about it is that in this country, we like load the shit out of our breads with sugar. Like just plain old wheat bread has a ton of sugar in it. And
Dude,
it's crazy.
It's crazy. They don't even call the bread roll at Subway bread because it's actually got like crazy
head
amounts
product
of
or something like that.
Yeah.
Are you
it's
serious? That's
yeah,
horrible.
because of the amount of sugar that's in it.
Yeah. And
that's like cheese at McDonald's. It's a cheese product. It's not actual cheese. They can't call it cheese because there ain't enough cheese in it. So they call it cheese product.
Like that's the state of some of the food that we consume. I mean, I was watching something recently about additives that are in our foods that we don't think about, right? Excuse me. And one of the things that they were talking about was the phosphates that are going into all of our food. And when you talked about, the low bone density and everything, one of the issues of phosphates is that your body's always trying to keep stasis. And so if you start overloading your body with phosphates, it starts robbing your calcium from your bones. And that's crazy. Like we don't think about this, but when you start looking at just the regular processed foods we eat on a regular basis, your Rice Krispie treat that you buy at the grocery store or what have you, and you start reading it, monophosphate, this phosphate, that there's a lot of different phosphate products being put into our food. And it's crazy because we don't even understand what it's actually doing to our body as just an average consumer.
And a lot of those, so pesticides, rodenticides, herbicides, all the stuff that they spray, a lot of that stuff's actually patented as antibiotics. Okay. Like glyphosate, that's the big one. And what antibiotics going to do is destroy your gut flora. So now you're getting into the whole, your second brain is in your gut. You know what I mean? There's tons of nerve endings down there. What did we just talk about before? You literally become what you eat. So if your little gut buddies are off, you know what I mean? It's gonna lead to a systemic problem of a whole bunch of other shit.
So I have a question. Like, this is more to the room, but I mean, feel free, Blake. Like, if you have like a real strong viewpoint on it, let me know. So like, let's just say I moved to the middle of nowhere. I'm like pretty far away from everything. I have like a freezer full of meat, like natural from the butcher, from a farmer kind of vibe. And then I grow all my own vegetables. And I do that, and I'll blanch some and I'll freeze them, and some of them I'll like put them in a jar or whatever. Like I'll have it for the winter, but I'll also have them so I can get them freshish. Like, do I still have like a realistic chance of like being able to hit everything without living that life of all that negative additional bullshit that goes into food? Like, is that like the only shot that I would have in order to like live that life without all the bullshit that goes into food and like all the processing and everything? Like, am I going to be doing good?
Yeah. And you don't even have to go that far as to homestead. You know what I mean? Like, that's a sick idea. Like, you'd definitely be healthy as shit, not to mention all the movement of tilling your land and doing all that shit and just being active and, grounding yourself in nature and everything else. But no, there's okay with, like, I mean, listen, I'm a proponent of, like, say, grass-fed beef. Okay. You should eat grass-fed beef when you can afford it because it has the appropriate amount of omega-6s, omega-3s versus omega-6s. Grain-fed's going to have a lot more omega-6s. As Americans, we run like a 40-1 ratio. It's supposed to be like a 6-1 ratio. But it doesn't mean if you eat the grain-fed beef, you're going to die. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if you take that and put it on the macro to your question about like, is there ways you can do it? Yeah, there's a website. I forget what it's called, but if you type in like Dirty Dozen fruits and vegetables, there's good third-party resources out there that can tell you like, this is something you should definitely get organic. Like strawberries, it's like number one on their list. Do not get inorganic strawberries because they're going to be roasted with, doused with chemicals. You know what I mean? Versus like a pineapple, because it has that hard ass rind on it. You'll probably be okay not buying organic pineapple. You know what I mean? And back to what I was saying about the food being nutrient deficient. Yes, our baby spinach doesn't have as much vitamin K as it used to have in it. Correct. But we have more access to it. And that's where supplementation can come in. You know what I mean? So you can get like a good organic greens blend to kind of supplement where your areas are low, or, vitamin D, like I was saying, magnesium. That's where supplementation comes in. But the only way to really know this stuff is to get your labs done. You know what I mean? So if you just go to your primary care physician, they're just going to tell you your hormone levels and things like that. But there's third-party resources now. There's a guy named Stephen Cabral. Check out his podcast. He's an integrative health practitioner, and he does all sorts of testing. He does a saliva, a hair, a blood, and like a urine sample. And he can tell you everything that you have going on, from heavy metals in your body down to your deficiencies. And then they can actually create a supplement package for you, okay, that's catered to your needs. That's going to, so you'll have, say you need, there's something called spirulina and chlorella. Those are two really good like sea algaes, and they are good. I'm pretty sure they're sea algaes, but they're good for releasing heavy metals, like toxins from you. So you don't have to homestead to be safe. You know what I mean? There is little steps you can take that. I didn't mean to scare everyone with like,
no,
the
Chris
food pyramid's
wants to
bad and everything. But
No, like
that's
just,
like his
low-key
dream.
wanna homestead,
That's what he
so-
wants
honestly,
to do. So
that would be dope as shit. I can't wait to get some chickens, bro. One of my clients.
Yeah, see,
had
I don't want to
chickens,
do any of
dude.
the killing though, Blake. That's my problem. Like, I don't want to do any of that shit. Like, I have no problems eating meat, but I just don't like have it in me. Like, if it was like, if I had to, like, if I couldn't drive to the store and buy like ground beef or steaks or a roast or something, um, it'd be tough, but I would do it. But I don't need to do it, so like I wouldn't want to. You know what I mean? So like I'll be growing like mad shit. I fully like would love that. Like I love the idea of like just blanching shit, jarring it, or blanching shit, freezing it. So you have like different kinds of vibes of the same veggies. Like I like that idea. Like I mean, it's probably gonna cost me less money. It's gonna cost me a bunch of sweat equity money, but that's okay because, like you said, like that's also aiding with your health. Like it is helping you get, more fit, better living. So yeah, no, I think it'd be so dope. But yeah, that's like kind of my goal. I'm still gonna like live close enough to a town that I can drive in there. Like I won't be like a complete weirdo, but I want it to be like off grid, everything. I just like want to
Yeah.
be. And
Dude,
I'm gonna have
honestly,
like I
I
gotta
love
wait
that,
until
man.
like the Elon internet is available because like I still need to be able to do this shit, right?
Good
And
old Starnet,
Yeah.
bro.
think about how cool it'd be if like Starlink was like up and about and I was in this small little house on a lake, like nowhere near fucking anybody. The
In the
stars were bright
wilderness
as
of
hell every
Canada.
single night. And I could be still recording the podcast every Sunday. All on power that I've created through fucking nature. Like that'd be amazing. Be perfect.
Dude, that'd be sick, bro. But if you're gonna live out in the woods like that, you got to get strapped up, bro, because there's some wild animals. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to go out there strapped, bro.
Yeah, you
But-
you definitely can't just come at him with a spear and a hunting knife. Like,
Although that'd be badass.
although
Dude,
the
if I
mach-
Comes out with
Oh.
a machete, just like,
Yeah, there's definitely bears and moose and all sorts of shit up there.
Dude.
But
don't fuck with the moose, bro.
yeah, dude.
No, moose are fucking brutal.
Dude, did you just
should-
see the video footage of that lady that just got fucked up by a moose in Alaska?
dude, did anybody not like have the littlest bit of want to go see Cocaine Bear that came out like last night?
No, dude.
Dude,
I
fuck.
can't believe it's Ray Liotta's last movie, bro. I can't believe that's how he's leaving his legacy.
Dude, that's so bad.
Dude, I actually do want to see that movie though. Like sad as
like
it
I
is.
heard about the story like well before the fucking movie like even was being talked about, and I was like, damn, that's fucking crazy. I wonder what that shit was like. Not thinking that they're actually
You're
gonna
gonna get
do
the
like
chance.
a stupid fucking comedy like spin-off movie of it, because oh dude,
Yeah, I actually don't have any idea what
pretty
kind of movie it is.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I
You
haven't
haven't seen the
Dude,
trailer?
trailer.
Oh,
All
Dude, I
I
have
know,
a theory on this.
I want to hear your theory. I'm all down for theories on Cocaine Bear.
So so I seen a preview for it, like online a couple months back, and it was so over the top. They had it like a horror movie, bro. So I sent it to my buddies. I'm like, yo, can you believe this is like they're actually trying to do this? I shit you not, after the Super Bowl, the fucking previews I see now make it look like you said, like a corny like comedy suspense. But I'm
Mhm.
telling you, the first trailer they dropped, bro, was a dead serious movie. Like it was supposed to be scary.
Like
and
a
I'm watching,
thriller.
I'm like,
it's gonna be a
yeah, like a
thriller.
thriller, dude. And it was just so bad. I think they pulled the Sonic, bro. I think people like shit on it so hard that they were like, yo, we got to reframe this as a fucking comedy. You know what I mean? Because it was just terrible. But
Oh, so you're
I'll
saying
probably
like the
see it when it
same
comes
cut
out.
that if I go to the theater, the same cut that I'm seeing that day, you're saying that was originally supposed to be just a thriller,
yeah.
like
Dude,
not
I don't
comedy
know.
at all.
I don't know. But
I
the
think I know
previews
what
were
you're
totally different.
Blake, I think I know what you're talking about, because I seen like a trailer for it a long time ago, and then I seen like the most recent one, and I'm like, I don't know if this is the same.
Thank you. Yeah, bro.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like
See,
it's
I
way
don't know
like
if I've
lighter
seen
now.
two.
You know?
Yeah, because the first one I saw was like, oh, dude, could you imagine, bro? A barrel
Yeah,
coke? That'd be
dude,
fucking
chasing the
scary.
car.
Dude,
Bro,
yeah, that'd be
chasing the
fucking
car.
scary as shit, dude.
no, wait a
But-
minute. Now that you're saying that,
Now it's got two
I
dudes up
saw
in a
that
tree, like
trailer.
fucking. Oh yeah, bears can't climb trees. Yeah, they can. And then there's this
Mad
kid
fast.
just fucking. What the fuck is going on, dude?
yo, like,
Anyways,
But yeah, so I guess I will need to be like strapped up, but I think that I might just like work in a more protected area.
put out
And
some
like
bear
I don't,
traps.
it's not like that crazy. I don't think that there's gonna be like fucking bears everywhere. You know what I mean? And I have like a loud ass dog, so hopefully the bear stays away. You know, it's
Yeah, just
like
keep a
too
fire
much
going,
noise.
bro. Just keep a fire going.
Maybe you
I
can
feel like
just
they
get
don't
a
like
bear
smoke.
as a pet, and then your bear protects territory from everybody, from all the wild bears. Then you'll be all set. I
There
mean,
you go,
Dude, if that were possible,
problem solved.
said it works in Russia, so let's go.
You
Right.
riding them around in your backyard, you know what I mean?
Oh.
Like Putin, take your shirt off and just
Send it.
Have you guys
Have you
ever
seen-
had bear meat?
You'll be jacked.
No,
because
but
you'll be out there,
what I hear,
killing your
it's
land.
not too shabby.
It's real fatty. It's not too bad. I've only had it once. My stepfather's a hunter. He got a black bear up in Canada, and we had some of the meat. It wasn't. Venison's better. Beef's the best.
Oh, let me ask you this.
Nothing beats beef.
Have you ever had woolly mammoth? Dude. I was listening to this Joe Rogan podcast, and he had this guy that lives up in Alaska that has like this property that they call the boneyard. And like over past, however many years, they found thousands upon thousands of mammoth like skeletons, and to where at one point one of their buddies found like a preserved
Like a
mammoth.
frozen one.
Yeah. So they cut a chunk off, fucking thawed it out, fucking threw it on the barbecue and ate it.
what?
Fucking wild, bro.
Yeah.
Are you fucking serious?
Swear to
though?
God. Swear to God.
I mean, it was
How
on the
is that
Joe
not
Rogan
get, like,
podcast, so you could go
diseases?
listen.
I feel like you
Dude,
get
I
the
heard they're trying to
disease.
regrow them in like a lab.
They are.
They're trying to
They
like
are.
bring them back. Yeah,
Yep.
you heard about that?
They're gonna
Yeah, they're trying to bring
reintroduce
back-
them.
I mean, I'm saying,
Has anybody ever thought that they might
mean,
have just
probably
died
good
for
eating.
a reason? Like,
That's
Hey
what
man, our
pretty
ancestors
harsh,
took
but-
him down and ate him.
that's
So
that's what I was right. What I was gonna say is like, this might be a game changer in the world food supply if it works. Them
Dude, right?
fuckers, you could feed a lot of people with one.
there's a few animals they're trying to bring back, like the dodo bird.
That'd be cool, just because I want to say
Be
dodo.
cool.
And can we save the blue-footed booby? It should be every American child's right to have the opportunity to say booby when referring to a goddamn animal and not get in trouble.
I'd cheers to that, bro. I like that.
mean, these poor kids, they've only got the titmouse. They need the blue-footed booby back.
Hey, that's a new one for me. I didn't even know that existed, Sean.
Yeah, dude. I don't know if they have them on the West Coast, but they are definitely native to Massachusetts at least. And yeah, it's a small bird called a titmouse.
and you've said that a bunch of times in public, even.
That's the
Just
best part.
because
Like,
you're like, oh,
Yeah,
did
he's
you ask me
right.
what kind of bird that is right there?
Yeah,
That's-
hey grandma,
oh,
look,
that's a
it's a
titmouse.
He's right, because I have I hunt too, and I have a electric collar, like a little coyote call. It makes dead animal noises, and the titmouse is one of them. They love
Nice.
a good dying titmouse. Those
Yeah,
coyotes.
the good I love dying. They get
Yeah.
Yep. And shout
I
out
love it.
shout out to Coyote Piss for being fantastic at keeping away pest rodents.
Yeah, dude, good call.
Yeah.
Can't eat them though. It's the only thing that sucks about coyotes. Terrible protein in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just they're scavengers,
Dude,
but
and they're everywhere, dude.
everywhere.
They are
Everywhere.
kind of like
They're
all
clever.
over this entire.
You know how that
fucking
happened?
continent.
You know how that happened? It's because like there's a point in time where we ended up killing off like the gray wolf population.
Nailed it.
And because of that, the coyotes were able to spread, and it started more up here near where I'm at, like Northern California area and like those sorts of states, and then just fucking
Yeah, dude, it is. It was the wolf thing. You're 100% right. And that's why we
Crazy,
have in the
right?
Northeast, we have, and it's not a scientific term, but we have coy wolves. They
Yeah, we
are a
have
little
those
bigger
here,
than out
too.
west. They're like they got like 5 to 10% wolf in them. They actually have like 5% domestic canine in them too. So we got some unique coyotes in the Northeast.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are
But
even up
they're
here.
gonna try to reintroduce them, the gray wolf, back down here from Canada.
Dude, they're
To see
scary
if-
as shit, bro.
to see
You ever
if that
seen like
helps.
a wolf compared to a coyote, like
Dude,
or like
they're
someone's dog,
nuts, bro. They're
bro? Dude, they're
huge.
huge.
I had a family friend when I was a kid growing up. They had an illegal wolf dog, that was like 70% actual.
So they had a wolf.
Yeah. So like,
yeah, if it's
they had
over
a domesticated
50%.
wolf for a pet.
Dude, you wouldn't catch me in air, bro. I don't care. I'm gonna be sitting there hugging it, cuddling it. I'll be 10 feet away, man.
Yo, dude, like, I'll be honest, like Vaughn was a great dog. That dog was, and a domesticated part of him was fantastic. But I'll tell you what, you know how you can play with a dog and like with a German Shepherd, sometimes they'll play with their mouth a little bit and, no big deal. It is what it is.
No.
The nibble from the wolf.
The nibble from the wolf.
A little more aggressive.
Yeah, I'm not. I ain't down.
It's a little bit more wild, Sean. A little bit more.
Yeah.
Every dog has a little bit of wild in them, but I think that like that dog specifically, it had about 70% of that shit.
Yeah,
so.
I'm used to golden retrievers, bro.
Yeah,
they're kind of goofy. So
to be fair, these are people who lived out in Montague, Turner Falls, like that area of Massachusetts.
Yeah,
so, it's dragons. It's dragons out there. So yeah, it's not a surprise. You need a wolf dog to protect you from dragons.
Dude, you know what I gotta say real quick? Side note: I love this podcast because we started this conversation talking about fitness, and now we're talking about fucking wolf dogs, bro.
dude.
Isn't this amazing? I love this podcast.
Welcome
I hope you guys listening do too, because you don't. This is the type of shit that only happens in the shed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. Like, how many times have we all been there though? Right? Like, you're in a sesh with friends, smoking some weed, talking about whatever, and next thing you know, you're on the most random, absurd topic, and you have that moment you just had where it's like, side note, how the fuck did we even get here?
Oh no, I know how we got here. I know how we got here. I just wanted to point it out, just because I thought it was hilarious.
I love it.
You guys want to bring it back to fitness? I'll tell you a little
let's
bit about
do
protein.
it, man. Yes, let's continue. Oh, exactly. Where this started.
Yeah,
bring it back to the center.
Bear meat. So basically, as we talked about before, your trifecta, you're going to need your nutrition if you're trying to build muscle. And everyone's goal for health should be to build muscle. And I'm not saying you have to go to that bodybuilder look, but building muscle your muscle is actually an endocrine organ. So it's going to provide you with hormone regulation. If you do like to eat a higher carb diet, if you have a sweet tooth, it's going to actually help lower your blood sugar and your insulin resistance. So increase your insulin sensitivity because of the way we store glucose as glycogen in our muscles. But in order to build that muscle, you're going to need protein. And a lot of people, when I ask them how much protein they're eating, they just don't even fucking know, first of all. So with one of my clients, the first thing I'm going to ask them to track aside from their calories is their protein intake. And what everyone should aim for, unless you have some kind of, issue, like a medical issue, is 1 gram of protein for every pound of lean body mass. So if you're a 200-pound individual at 20% body fat, that's going to be 160 grams of protein a day. Now, that can sound like an overwhelming task. You know what I mean? It is hard to get that much protein. But what it does is it actually satiates you more. So protein's the most filling macronutrient as well. So for someone that's a weight loss client, it's like, hey, listen, if you get 160 grams of protein in a day from whole foods, you know what I mean? Maybe a protein shake too. Chances are pretty good you're going to be too full to eat the junk food anyway. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I don't care what you eat after, but get your 160 grams of protein in. Let's take it baby steps. Yeah. You know what I mean? We're not going to flip everything on its head. And there's different sources of protein. So all animal protein, okay, poultry, fish, beef, bison, all of that is what's called complete protein. So there's 20 amino acids and 9 of them are essential, or 11. I always mix up the 9 or 11. Okay, which means our body can't synthesize them. Plant protein, like a pea protein, okay, that's not going to be a complete protein. So it's going to be lacking some of those essential amino acids. So for those that do go the vegan route, you know what I mean? You have to get protein from, say like hemp, soy, peas, tofu, whatever you know what I mean?
Correctly.
In order for that to hit all your aminos, but on top of that, the bioavailability is low. So that's why when I come at vegans for protein, it's possible. It's just harder. You know what I mean? So like dairy products are complete protein too, which is why you see a lot of whey protein powders. But for those that are lactose intolerant, then yeah, get a vegan protein powder, but get a vegan blend that has different protein sources in it. You know what I mean? So strive for that protein, 1 gram for every pound of lean body mass. All right. Now, if you don't have a body fat percentage scale that uses bioelectric impedance or an InBody at your gym, if you weigh 220 pounds and you're a little chunky, you know, you got that little spare tire, then just aim for like 150 to start. You know what I mean? Get more than you're getting in now, and you'll see direct benefits. I've had clients that were under consuming protein, and within a week and a half, they're like, I'm stronger. It's like, yeah, well, no shit. You're giving your body what it needs to build muscle. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, but it's
that's my bit on protein.
Yeah, and that was you kind of already like explained a question I was going to ask you too, because I know there's a lot of people that are like, well, you know, I'm not able to get, you know, as much protein as I like, so I'm just going to, you know, stack up on protein shakes. Like that's not something that is going to be beneficial at all, right? Because that's not the right types of proteins that you're going to necessarily need, right? That's cool for like a little supplementation, like you were saying, but if you're just trying to stack protein through shakes or something, that's not going to be the best way of going about it, right?
It really depends. So first, it depends on what your goals are. You know what I mean? If you're in that longevity camp where you just want to be healthy and you want to live a longer life, then yeah, it's like, well, okay, let's address the problem of why you can't get your proper nutrition in. Is it just you don't have the time in the day and you can't cook, so you don't have the resources? Or is it because you're filling up on other junk food, carbohydrates that are from hyper palatable things like Cheetos or, you know, Lay's potato chips? I have this problem with my girlfriend. She's a petite thing, and she's one of those people that can't gain weight. You know what I mean? It's very hard for her to gain weight, which sounds like a princess problem, but honestly, it's harder for someone like that to gain weight than for someone that's obese to lose weight.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
have the hardest time gaining weight. That's an issue I have.
So for her, if she reaches for junk food before dinner, I'm like, no, you have to wait. Like, I don't care how many potato chips you have, but eat your protein first. So even comes down to the plate. When I serve her plate of, because I do most of the cooking, you know what I mean? Of if I have a ribeye and mashed potatoes, I'm like, girl, you better go to work on that ribeye first, because it's so hard for her to get all of it in because she's just so small. You know what I mean? So if your goals are more aesthetic, okay, and say you're a laborer or a lawyer and you just had a long ass day and you only got to eat lunch and then you had your protein shake at 5 p.m., you went to the gym and you're like, fuck, I got to go to bed, nothing's open. In that scenario, I would say that the double protein shake is better than no protein shake. You know what I mean? So we should always strive for whole foods first, particularly the meats like I was talking about. I rarely use protein powder unless I'm in a cut. Because what I do is I usually have like 6 to 8 eggs every morning with cheese and some ground beef. You know what I mean? Eggs are a complete protein. When I want to cut a little and lose some weight, I'll just do a protein shake in the morning. That way my calories are a lot lower. You know what I mean? But I'm still getting the protein in that I need. So yes, whole foods are always the best source. But if it comes down to not hitting your protein or not, then I applaud doubling up on the shake. But still, it's a work in progress. You know what I mean? Okay, it should be like a break glass in case of emergency. That's how supplements should be used. If that sums it up for you, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like that definitely answers, because it's like, because I feel like that's something some people don't necessarily think about. You know what I mean? They're just like, oh, well, I'm getting the protein in either way. You know what I mean? Not necessarily thinking about not necessarily being the best way of going about it. You know what I mean? Like if you can, make sure you take the time to get it in through those whole food type proteins instead of, trying to, go about it that way. Cause, it's something, I've tried to do in the past. It was like, oh, well, I'm not able to, cause, my work schedule was kind of, whatever, it was night shift sort of situation. So I'm sleeping during the day, and when, I'm up, it's one of those weird things. So at that point I was just like, trying to, get it in however I could without necessarily thinking about the best way of going about it. You know what I mean? So having clarification is always a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, life gets in the way. No one's perfect. You know what I mean? So like, that's what supplements are good for. I mean, for us in New England, everyone basically in New England should be supplementing with vitamin D in the winter because you can't synthesize it from the sun. It's too far away. There's no UV index. You know what I mean? If you live in Southern California, you can go out and get that sunlight. You know what I mean? So like, we're all in different situations. People live in Alaska; they get like 4 hours of fucking sunlight part of the year. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So different strokes for different folks, but it's all about finding what works for you. And when you pick these practices and you're trying to figure out what is going to work for you, always remember that the motivation is going to run out. You know what I mean? So you should have an intention of health to foster a sustainable practice. You know what I mean? Because everything's easy when you're motivated. You come home motivated to clean the room, that room gets clean. You know what I mean? You go out and you buy your new creatine, which is something we should talk about too before we end this. And their pre-workout because they're motivated. They get a new pair of shoes. They're like, "Fuck yeah, I'm in here 5 days a week." Well, after 2 weeks, they don't have a six pack yet. That motivation runs away. It's like they start to make excuses, and then they tie up 3 days in a row. They don't go, and it's like if you had just gone 2 or 3 days a week with a good structured program, you know what I mean? You'd be able to live your life, have your balance, and it would be sustainable for when that motivation runs out. So it's like, hey, I only got to make it in there 2 or 3 days this week. You know what I mean?
It's a good point too, because like
Yeah.
I one of the things I hear people tell me all the time is like, "Oh, I don't have time. I don't have time." And I think it's not so much that you don't have time; it's that you're not willing to make time. Because I know, like for me, I wasn't willing to make time after work. I realize that when I get out of work, I'm spent. I do not want to make it to the gym, put it in for an hour, and then go home, have to make like that. That wasn't going to work for me. So instead, I chose to make time in the morning. But it's so easy to just not make time. I mean, there are probably in many people's lives 2 to 3 hours every day that we spend completely sedentary, watching TV, watching YouTube videos.
If not more, bro.
100%.
Nowadays, you know what I mean?
You know, um, if we just shifted some of our things in our day back a little bit and cut into that 2 or 3 hours or 4 hours or whatever that time is, and gave one of those hours somewhere in the day to doing this fitness or whatever it is, making these first initial steps, it becomes easier. You know, um, once you get into the routine after that first month, it's like breathing.
Hmm.
You know,
Great point. Yeah.
becomes a habit now. And like you get to that point where you're like, I need to be there on Wednesday because if I miss my Wednesday, I'm going to be fucked until I can get in again. That's the kind of, as long as you can stick with it for that first 30 or so days to start to form that habit and you rewire those systems in your mind so it becomes that habit, then immediately it becomes easier. Not to mention simple framework of your language. It's not I have to go to the gym, it's I get to go to the gym. Simple framing your language can change your perspective on it, which in turn releases greater levels of dopamine in the brain, and that's what we're all craving anyway, is that dopamine hit. And now your body starts craving wanting to go to that gym. And same with eating healthy. Yeah, I know that the salad doesn't taste as good as the bag of Skittles, but when you frame it to the I get to eat this salad, you start to trick your brain and your brain releases dopamine for it because you're getting excited about eating it. And next thing you know, you want to eat the salad. You want to eat healthy because your brain says, yeah, every time I do, I feel good. I get a dopamine hit.
Yeah, dude, I just got goosebumps when you said that, bro. That's fucking awesome. That's
He does that from time to time, bro.
Yeah.
He gets a flow going, and the next thing you know, you're like, man, is this a TED talk?
Yeah. And you know what? To comment on some things you said too about like wanting to go to the gym, you should feel better after your workouts than before you got there. So that's a big misconception in the fitness industry, this grit and grind and like, I'm going to go in there and beat the shit out of myself. No, if you're playing the long game, you know what I mean? Get in there, get it done. You know what I mean? Leave something in the tank because you need to get up and do it in 2 days. You know what I mean? You have to go back again. So you don't want to beat the shit out of yourself because exercise is like a bell curve. It's going to have its benefits, but then just like any other hormetic stress, you know what I mean? It's the concept, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Well, if you're in the gym 5 hours a day, that's going to have reverse benefits. You know what I mean? So your goal when you get into the gym is to do the smallest amount of effort that's going to elicit the most amount of change. And usually when people get a grasp of that, like Sean was saying, they feel better when they leave the gym, and it's going to make that dopamine like he was talking about. And then they're going to associate that feeling. They're going to put that feeling in a jar for a rainy day. And they're going to go, I need to do this because it's for me. You know what I mean? I get to do this. I don't have to do it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And that's the beauty of it. I remember you said this the other day when we were talking in the store that, you know, funny thing about, you know, working out is that once you start working out and feeling good, you want to talk about how much you've been working out and feeling good. It's contagious. Like you like I've talked about it before. It's the runner's high. You know, when you get used to that endorphin rush you get from just getting the pump on and, you know, getting your blood circulating like that, it becomes a part of you, and becomes this thing in you that needs to do it now. And that is a beautiful thing, because I think it speaks inherently to the spirit of the human being that we are designed to be in motion. So we should embrace that. Keto diet isn't every, as my understanding was, keto diet is meant to be about like thinking back to the early man, right? Well, the early man had to run from predators. The early man had to hunt and run and climb and do a lot of strenuous things. His
Life
body
was definitely different.
move. You know what I mean? Our body is still his body. It's designed to move. But what do? We spend 5-6 hours sometimes in a day seated, not moving. And that's
our genetics haven't updated, you know what I mean, from 10,000 years ago. We're the same Homo sapiens, you know what I mean? Or Homo sapiens, not homeo. But we're those same people, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's why walking is arguably one of the best exercises you can do, because we're bipedal. Okay. The one exercise we know we're designed to do is walk. And the reason why I like it so much for longevity and weight loss is there's no barriers to entry for most people. If you want to go for a run, you got to get your headphones, you got to get your shoes on, you got to make sure you got your water bottle. You know what I mean? Oh, you know, I have to take the dog out, I have to do something. Something gets in the way. Walking, it's like, nope, I'm just going to get out the door and fucking walk. You know, you're on lunch break at work, you're in a suit and tie. Well, guess what? You can go for a 10-minute walk. You know what I mean? Yeah, you might get a little sweaty because it's hot out, but that's okay. You know what I mean? So we are designed to walk. And if you're someone that doesn't have a wearable, get a Fitbit just for like a week. You can get them for like $20 now. You know what I mean? You don't have to wear it forever, but get an idea where you're at. So if you're someone that's only getting like 4,000 steps a day, add an extra 10 to 15 minute walk. Park further away in the parking lot when you go to Walmart. Walk through each aisle, even though you don't have to. Don't do the drive-through. You know what I mean? They sound like silly things, but when you actually add them up, you'll get an extra 2,000 to 5,000 steps a week. You know what I mean? That will divide out. And then you build those habits. Like, I mean, truth be told, I don't go through drive-throughs because my first car in high school, the window didn't roll down. So I just never got used to it. You know what I mean? But now I tell my clients, say, hey, park in the back of the fucking parking lot. Don't fight for a spot, especially when you're going to the gym. There's this weird phenomena at the gym where people all try to find the closest parking spot when they're already going into exercise. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean?
We're tired when we come out.
Start it now.
We want to be lazy getting back to the car.
Dude, it's a good warm up and a good cool down. Come on, man.
Exactly. Yeah.
Get a little bit further away.
Because one thing I'll say, right? I'm weird maybe, but I don't want to just deal with the locker for just my jacket, right? So I'll literally just throw my jacket in my car. It's just my hoodie. I walk in, you know what I mean? and I get to business, and then I walk back out to my car. It's 19 degrees this morning when I did that, and yeah, it sucked getting into the building, but it was glorious on the way back to the car because the engine's revved up. I'm good. I'm going back to the car, and of course, I'm not being reckless with my health. I throw the jacket on once I get there because I don't want to like stain myself.
You don't want to get cold.
No, dude, it's like a cold plunge just without getting in the water.
Right. But like I've got
just Wim Hof in it.
That's it.
Yeah.
I got the motor running, and now I get that finishing cool down. I've done my cool down in the gym, get this last little finisher as I walk to my car with the cold air outside, and then I can get back to business. Hit my protein shake on the way back to immediately fuel, and then I can go ahead and eat better foods the rest of the day. Because I know for me, it is difficult to hit those 100+ grams of protein. But I'll tell you what, when I started with a 42-gram protein shake, that's a beautiful baseline because I'm not a breakfast eater. So that's a beautiful baseline to fuel my body for the start of my day. And then by lunchtime, I'm ready to eat something with actual substance. And that now, in the frame of what we've been discussing today, that means that, making the right decisions, right? I can go get a slice of pizza, or I can go eat something that's a lot more healthy. I can eat a tuna fish sandwich or something of that manner, which there's controversy to that subject too.
What's that? The sandwiches or tuna?
So let's face it, right? With tuna, there's mercury. And if you eat too much, you can definitely start to build up the mercury levels in your body, and that's not healthy. But then, of course, we go back to the subject of the bread. And the bread is not of quality the way it should be. So, I already brought up that like there's these different preservatives that you've got the the phosphates in it. But another interesting thing is the enriched flour, which is robbed of its vital nutrients. It's not grain. It's fluffy pillows of stuff that we can safely eat, kind of.
Yeah. So to your point, check out Dave's Killer Bread. They're awesome.
It's so good, bro.
It's awesome.
That shit's
it's
so
all
good.
Organic. They're everything bagels have 13 grams of protein. So if you are a breakfast eater, slap 2 eggs on that bitch with a piece of ham and some cheese. You're looking at 30 grams to start the day.
My sister-in-law got me into them.
Dude, cool story too. Look up the story of the guy, ex-convict, built a fucking awesome little empire there. Very interesting story. But so I like to support them too. And then as far as the tuna goes, yeah, dude, you can't eat too much with the mercury in it. But I try to here's the thing. If I don't have lunch that day, like if I didn't meal prep, if I put 2 cans of tuna in with some pickles and hot peppers, some spicy brown mustard, because it's lower in calorie than mayo, so I'm getting like 60 grams of protein for like under 300 calories. But to your point, I don't do that 3 times a week because
there was a point in my life, bro, where I was eating 2 cans of tuna every day for like a good period of time because like I was mainly doing it for the protein and because I was iron deficient, and tuna has quite a bit of iron in it as well, so I was kind of doubling down on that. But dude, I was going ham on tuna sandwiches, bro.
Yep,
that shit was gnarly.
And that's the kind of thing that you want to avoid because of the mercury content,
dude. That was a point in time too where I was like, I don't know, was that before or after my surgery? I think that was after my second heart surgery. So I was.
Dude, I can honestly say that I don't think that I've ate an entire can worth of tuna in my entire fucking life.
Oh, dude, I ate 2 at a time, baby. 2 at a time, every time.
The fuck out.
I did 2 at a time every time, bro.
I know, like we're
I don't do it as often, but when I do, it's just like fuck it. I'll do two.
about all this, and I kind of like, because dinner's going to be a little bit later. I still have to get the wife from work and everything.
I might make some
Make
today.
a little tuna sandwich.
Yeah, I might make some. Dude, take it down with a little bit of some Ritz crackers, bro. You know what I mean? Instead of bread.
This. I can completely repulse Uncle Chris because we can make tuna sandwiches with pickles.
Oh yeah, dude.
like just like
dill,
those two things together.
I just throw a shit ton of dill relish in there and mix it all together, bro.
Yeah, dude. That's the play. I like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And if I don't have the dill relish, I'll actually take some pickles and just chop them up and throw them in there. But dill all the way. I can't do the sweet.
Onions in that bitch.
I'm not a huge fan of onion. I'll do it every now and then, but if I'm just going to make a quick one, relish. This is where I get people though. All right. I go Miracle Whip instead of mayo.
Okay. All right.
Because it gives it a slight, little zing from the Miracle. It's the only time I ever eat Miracle Whip is only with tuna sandwiches, because it gives it that little zip with the dill relish together.
It's interesting because I like that you said putting brown mustard instead of mayo. And
yeah, I don't think I'd ever try. I've tried the yellow mustard and not really my thing, but that might be interesting because it'd be have a little spice to it,
Get that Grey Poupon in there, bro. That's shit.
Have a little spice to it.
We can make it the most extra fancy over here because I've got a black truffle mustard.
Whoa,
fancy!
Whoa, that is fancy.
Truffle mustard into a tuna fish sandwich. It's like
chefing it up over there, dude.
I'll tell you what. We bought it for making a black truffle mac and cheese.
Ooh.
So this is why I go to the gym, because I like to eat crazy shit like that.
Dude, I don't
want to become unhealthy from doing those things. But yeah, a black truffle mustard mixed into our cheese sauce to get that black truffle flavor in there was phenomenal. And for those who want to, make their own cheese sauce and try it, if you like black truffle, man, like this black truffle mustard is potent.
Dude, I don't know if I like black truffle.
I never had truffle in my life, so
it is.
I genuinely have no idea if I like it.
So, I mean, black truffle being a mushroom, it is super umami.
Oh yeah, that's probably why I've never had truffle, bro. Because I don't fuck with the fungus, bro.
Yeah, it is.
I'm a fun guy.
Dude.
I'm a fun guy.
I can't do it, bro.
Here.
Super.
I'm a fun guy, but I don't eat the fun guy. You know what I mean?
Okay, so Blake, is there benefits from eating mushrooms? Like, is that like
I'm
sure there's a lot, dude.
Oh yeah,
is beneficial?
So chaga mushroom has more antioxidants in it than anything in the world. Reishi mushroom is an adaptogen. So adaptogens, I'm sure you've heard of like the ashwagandha craze. So what they'll do is they'll work as, I don't know the proper terminology, but like they can modify to give you more or less of something depending upon what your body needs. So that's why like ashwagandha is good, but Rishi's like that. Lion's mane is really good for your brain, so your cognition. And then what is it? Turkey tail is really good for immunity. And then cordyceps are really interesting. So the way that they discovered mushroom cordyceps is the alpacas or llamas in the fucking Himalayas. They would start eating these things and they'd get horny. Okay, so they'd get fucking horny and they'd start wanting to fuck, and that's how they discovered the vitality from the cordyceps. So it increases your it's really good for your bronchial and cardiovascular system. So they've done collegiate studies where they gave mushroom cordyceps and people's VO2 max like skyrocketed. So yeah, there's tons of benefit to all medicinal mushrooms. I drink lion's mane in my coffee every day, but it don't taste like mushrooms. It tastes like coffee. You know what I mean?
I can tell.
Shout out to Mo D, bro, because there's this buddy of ours, man. I haven't seen him in a while. He used to hang out with us in our Discord server, and he was heavy into the mushroom game, bro. Like everything that you spit out right now is something he has told us at one point in time, because like he was just that dude. He was about it. He drinks it in his coffee every morning. You know what I mean? So hearing you talk about it just made me instantly think of that dude and be like, I miss fucking Mo D, bro.
That was immediately me too. Like I had this just giant grin on my face. I was like, my God.
I saw you at first, and then I couldn't keep it together, bro, because I kind of wanted to just laugh and be like, fuck, dude, where's Mo D?
Shit, this is everything. Mo
No, but that's
preaching
awesome,
years
dude,
ago.
because that's literally everything that he's said over time too.
Oh,
And, like,
man. I miss
And
yeah,
then
there's a lot.
then we
There's
get into the
definitely a
funky
lot.
ones too. The
Yeah,
funky mushrooms are those are
dude,
some
there's
of
a
my favorites
lot
as well.
of great things that they're starting to like do with research on that for like people with
PTSD
PTSD and anxiety, as well as a lot of other like, you know, issues that like, dude, it's crazy. And now like certain states are actually being able to, you know, implement them, you know, like Oregon and I believe Oregon is one of the ones where they've legalized it.
Yeah, it's for they're seeing a lot of with MDMA too for PTSD and things like that. Doesn't mean you should just go do a bunch of Molly and you know what I mean. Molly's a lot of fun, but
Yeah,
doesn't mean you should do it unsupervised. You know what I mean? But mushrooms are really interesting because in the forest, they're the neural network of the forest. So was it the myocin or something like that? The whatever system, mycelin or something like that. It's what directs all the nutrition and everything through the root system. So it's all the intertwinings of the forest underneath, like where everything should go. That's all controlled by the fungus network. So that's like, you know, the woo woo out there, which I'm all into, you know, holistics and things like that. When they talk about brain function and things like that, that's where they think it's, you know, the neurons are like closely mapped to what our brain looks like. You know what I mean? They haven't no scientific proof of like that yet, but
well, you just think about it, bro. You eat some magic mushrooms, and where does your brain go, bro? You know what I mean?
It's true.
There's got to be some sort of connectivity there, bro, because it opens your mind up to. I don't know personally because I've never done them, but just from experiences that I've heard about, it's like something's going on there, bro. There's some sort of connection for sure.
It's fully
new firing and wiring.
Yeah, it's fully rewiring your synapses in your brain when you continually use psilocybin. I totally contribute the person I am today as being a much more mentally stable person again because of microdosing with magic mushrooms. I know we've talked about it a bit in the past on this show, but you know, when I hit that really bad dark depression that I was in, and I really started making all of these choices where the gym is a big part of this as well, I started using magic mushrooms by microdosing them at a 0.5 gram every few days. So my days off, because they kind of worked out well, 3 to 4 days in between each dose, I would take my 0.5 gram after everything was done. And to be completely honest with people, if you're a cannabis user, if you smoke pot and you take a 0.5 gram, you know, infused chocolate bar piece, right? And you eat that, the high from that is pretty much akin to smoking some pretty good weed. It's nothing to be scared of. So, you know, you just take that and you just relax and enjoy your time, you know, do what you would do, play your video game, watch your
I wouldn't be against doing it that way instead of like going in for a full dive for the first
time. Dude, like diving in the deep end doesn't make sense when you're talking about stuff like that. So
the
not unless you have supervision, you know, like a counselor with you. And
well, that's you know, the whole thing. I've always been really interested in, you know, seeing what possibilities could come from, you know, taking that ride once or twice, you know what I mean? But like I've always been very nervous about where my mind could take me, because you know, there's times where I'm not necessarily in the right state of mind to go down that road, you know what I mean?
Yeah, nobody
that's good maturity knowing that too. It's I do them all the time.
It's like I don't know if I want to, because dude, I'm already paranoid enough as it is, so like to go down and then have a bad trip and then dude, I don't know where that could end me up at the end.
Yeah, see the beautiful thing with the
could be good. It could be good at the end of it, honestly, but it could also be very terrifying while going through it.
Yeah.
So I don't
You
know.
don't want to dive
We'll
into
see.
the deep end like that, but when you're microdosing and you get to that afterglow effect the following couple of days, that's where it really shows. It's sort of like working out in the gym, right? Like Blake was talking about earlier. It's during sleep that your body is doing the building of the muscle and everything else. It's similar where in the following days is when you start to recognize the rewiring of the brain. And when the guy cuts you off in traffic and when you're normally going to be like, oh, you fucking rat bastard, now you're like, oh, what an ass, whatever. And
Yeah, he
Dude,
must be in a rush.
I need me some of that,
Yeah,
dude.
he must be in a
So
rush.
I want to piggyback on Sean again because my experience with mushrooms, which I've had a lot of, you want to make sure that you're either doing a microdose, so under a gram, typically, like he's saying, for that very calming, euphoric kind of like one of the first times you smoke weed, maybe a giggle, or you want to do a deep dive. You want to do like 2.5 to an 8, because if you do that medium and you're caught in limbo, sometimes you can get some of the effects of the trip, but not the full effects, and it will give you crazy forms of anxiety. You know what I mean? So you want to go either
That's what I'm
in,
afraid of.
Yeah, you either want to go all in or just stick your toe in. You know what I mean? You don't want to go up to your nuts. You know what I'm saying? And then no one's having fun. But yeah, so keep it under a G. And the bars, he's talking about the chocolate bars are awesome because they're very easy to dose. Versus like you get like a puffy mushroom, just like a nug. You're like, oh, that could be a gram. Yeah, psych, it was a dense bastard. Now you're fucking tripping balls. You know what I mean?
Now you're going for a ride, baby.
And that's
Buckle up.
Happened to my buddy.
We've also got the different species, and so like a golden teacher, which is going to be a little bit more gentle compared to say, a
Penis envy.
which is going to be hyper fucking aggressive, will also determine how much you dose. We've told the story on this show before in the
It's just like,
my PE experience eating a full eighth the first time with PEs.
It's just like cannabis, some people, they can't take a full, glob dab like I do. You know what I mean? It's going to take them to a fucking scary place. You know what I mean?
It's going to make
you got to figure out where you land. Yeah, dude, I almost did the first time I took one, but now look at me now, bro. Look at me now.
of cannabis though, you and I've spoken actually a bunch about the fact that cannabis is also actually really effective in your overall performance and your well-being as well. Because I mean, I've known plenty of people who they use it as a pre-workout. It gives them that, they'll smoke a little sativa and then they'll hit
Durban
and get the energy they need to get their sets in, or they'll do like I do and they'll use their indicas as a post-workout in order to like take the aches away and help to reduce the swelling and all of that. So where do you stand with all of that?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I'm the same way. So like, I mean, I have my vape pen. It's just like the oil or whatever, live resin. The Durban is like one of my favorite workout strains. So I'll do that or like a jet fuel or green crack. You know what I mean? One of those
little
classic.
Blue Dream, bro, and I'll be in there fucking
so
shit out.
I like Blue Dream for working out, but I find Blue Dream to be more of like what I call an errand running weed for me. It's a little cloudier than like this is what I noticed than like the Durban. Whereas the Durban, I don't get cotton mouth, I don't get like the heavy on the eyes at all, so I just fucking go to it. But then I'll use something like a Blue Dream or like a Jack Herrera, something that's a little more creative on my mobility days or like yoga. You know what I mean?
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Feel that out.
Because I kind of I focus more like on like a Blue Dream because I mainly just strictly indica or really indica leaning hybrids. But like when I used to play music, like that would Blue Dream, bro, was the one that would just like unlock a spot in my brain where I would just like fucking lock into something, and then I was just there, bro. You know what I mean? And I feel like if I could get that in like a gym scenario, like
dude, totally. And I find I got to do it right before I go in. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to get distracted or anything.
That's the whole thing, dude. You have a sesh right before you get up and strap into the fucking, guitar and start doing your thing. You just fucking have a nice fat sesh with the boys and then fucking plug in and then Let her rip.
I mean, I'll say this: Action Bronson does exactly what you do, Blake. Before Action Bronson goes into the gym at 5 a.m. or whatever wild time, because he's
Shout outs to
fucking animal.
AB right now, bro.
Yeah,
He's
dude.
putting in the work.
Bam Bam for real these days.
Bam Bam Baklava.
Bam Bam Baklava.
Yeah, dude.
But he will literally rip his dab card a couple times right in the parking lot and then hop out and go in.
Yep.
Because by the time he gets in, it's hitting him. He's getting his motivation. Now he's ready to, start his warm up and go for it. And of course, for anybody out here who's, hip hop heads like us and enjoy some Action Bronson and, follow along with his weight loss journey and the work he's doing, he's a goddamn animal. And he's going to the same gym as like CC Sabathia and doing like intense workouts that are making CC Sabathia tired. So like Action's on another level right now. Like I admire the shit out of that because like I was watching for the folks out there who are familiar with Fuck That's Delicious, obviously like that led to a very unhealthy lifestyle, and he continued to produce that show after it went off of Vice on his own, out of pocket, and airs it on his YouTube, and he will literally go into like say a bakery with kettlebells and be like, all right, well, we got to do 100 kettlebell swings before I can eat that pastry. So let's go.
He's sitting there. He's got his fucking big old mace,
Dude.
walking around.
Oh, mace bells are sick, dude.
Yeah, dude.
I have a couple of those, that ancient shit. But
that's a show workout for him now is the mace.
Yeah, dude, it's wicked good for shoulder stability and fucking you can get real flowy with it. So if you get some good creative weed, man, that's where you can really come through. But it's it's a part of a ritual. You know what I mean? Like working out becomes, like you were saying, when you build those habits, you build these rituals around it. You know what I mean? Like I always make my pre-workout the same way. I always drink it at the same time before I work out. I always hit my vape pen. Two mini hits for me. That's what I do instead of one big hit. Don't know why. Just part of my process. And then as far as like indicas go, yeah, dude, if indica can help you sleep and relax, you know what I mean? Get that muscle built. Like what's better than a nice wedding cake strain or like Tahoe OG at the end of the day when you're like,
speaking my language, bro.
In.
Speaking my language.
So,
yep. And I mean, honestly, I really do enjoy a good indica during mobility. When I'm doing my
my girl's like that, dude.
I love it all the time, bro.
Yeah.
Tune in to the body because you can really feel that. And like you're doing mobility, trying to increase that range of motion. You know what I mean? But like sometimes it's nice just to go into a mobility drill with no plan and just tune into the body. And yeah, dude, you smoke a nice indica, you're relaxed. You know what I mean? You're in a good position to like really explore those different ranges of motion and like get deeper in them. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, this is literally
the yogis have been doing this for fucking centuries. You know what I mean? Like, tell me pot and yoga don't fucking go together. You know what I'm saying?
100%. You're right.
Dude, this is
like
something fucking
so
Joe
excited,
Rogan's
though.
been preaching for a long time too, bro. He's like, dude, fucking smoke some weed and then go fucking to the gym and go roll. Like, cause he's all about it before he does jujitsu. He's like, man, he's like, dude, he's like, you just lock in, bro. He's like,
yeah,
it's just the way to go. He's like, I do it before I do anything most of the time, except for, during the week when I got to do my, 9 to 5, stay clear mind for that. And then I come home. Anything else I do, smoke a little weed, do this, do that.
Yeah, I got to smoke some weed before I do these dishes. Got to make things interesting.
Dude,
yeah.
Well, no, but like you guys know
dinner.
how like I'm planning on like getting a golf membership and going golfing all the time. And so I'm gonna walk.
high and
Like
going
Blake,
bowling,
that's like
bro?
my
I wanna do
plan,
that.
right? My plan is to like go walk, play 9 holes, on the weekends play 18, whatever, but just to walk and get out there. But I'm like a pure indica guy. Like whenever I use cannabis, like ever since I had the ability to find out what I could get and then get that specifically for what I want it for, I've been like indica only. So what you're saying to me is like literally giving me mental confidence already that I will start to see results, especially in my golf game, by going there, getting into the indica, being out there, getting more healthy, and like overall, just like I'm gonna be fucking shooting, Real low scores, baby.
Yeah, and the golf
High as
course
fuck.
too. I mean, it's beautiful out there. It's quiet. You're in nature. Like honestly, microdosing on the golf course is one of my all-time favorite activities. You know what I mean? Now, we're talking about mushrooms again, but like
Yeah.
indica is good for the golf course too, man. And like you said, you're gonna walk. Dude,
Yeah.
get those steps in, bro. And I find that when you walk, you really like take your time setting up for the ball and shit too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you
But
also like I feel like you probably play so like there was a time of my life where I did a walk a few times, but not like anything like I'm planning to do this year. Like I'm planning to play like 30 or 40 rounds and walk every single time. You know what I mean? So like that's like my goal. Because if I'm gonna be buying like a year membership, like I best be making
make it
it
worth
my money, right? And yeah, so like I'm just gonna go. I already know that like I'm gonna just probably like bring my Dynavap with me. And so like I'll probably in the car, like right before I go, I'll just like hit a bowl, and then maybe like by the fourth or fifth hole, I'll hit another bowl, and then I should be good. But yeah, just to walk it, just to get out there, just to like be more active, but do something that's fun. Like I used to be okay at golf, so I feel like if I put in like a full year of playing, walking, getting more healthy, that like I'll ultimately be even better at golf than I was at the beginning, and be more healthy. Like that's my hope. That's my hope. Because it's gonna cost me, I think I looked into it, it's like $1,100, something like that, for like the whole season to golf. But that's just to walk. So I feel like that's a worthwhile investment for me to like try to get in better shape, be better at golf, so I can like lord it over a couple of friends that play golf all the time, and just be more active in general.
Isn't that the whole point
Yeah,
of the game of golf anyway? Is just to fucking have one-upsmanship?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I fucking outdrove you. I outdrove you. It's like maybe you guys need to get cheater clubs or something to catch up.
Yeah, dude, I got a nice little pre-golf mobility routine too. So we'll have to connect after this, and when the weather's getting warmer, I'll put you on my app and program a little pre-golf mobility for your hips and your core and your thoracic spine, which is like your upper back, to really lube
Yeah,
you
dude,
up
I'm
for
down.
the
And
course.
obviously, like if there's a warm up for walking, like 3 or 4 miles, because that's probably like what it is to play golf, especially when you're not that good. I
Start
might need
walking
that
now.
warm up too. Well, it's
the best
cold as
part about
fuck and
walking, it's
ice
free.
everywhere, but I
Yeah.
plan on I'm imagining the golf course won't be open until the middle of April. So the weather's turned enough that it's not just always muddy by like the second or third week of March. So I'm planning on like trying to be a bit more active. So like for my work, I'm fairly active, but it's not for like a walking idea. You know what I mean? Like I'm not walking that far. I'm like moving boxes, loading, getting in out of a truck, whatever else. But yeah, so that's my plan. But I will 100% take your advice on the warm up. I think that might be beneficial for sure, especially when I'm trying to do something that like I haven't done in 15 years.
So
Yeah, and go for a walk with like leading up to that when the weather clears a little, like even just 2 weeks before. Go for a walk, go for 10 minutes the first day, 12, 15. And then like the week leading up, dude, wear a backpack. Throw a couple books in a backpack, weight it down a little bit. That way you can keep that resistance instead of having to walk like for 4 hours. You know what I mean?
Dude, I'll just walk like by the end, I'll just walk a bit with my golf clubs on my back. I have
There
like
you
the
go.
double
Yeah.
carry strap golf bag.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
literally
Make sure you put a couple
practicing for
beers
what I
in there
will be
too.
doing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
And some
the
water,
best part about walking.
because I need the water,
Yeah.
the great thing too is that you've got one of the greatest little workout helpers too, and that's owning a dog, because like
No, that's true.
you can, that's an immediate excuse to go take walks. Oh, got to take Indy for a walk now.
Yeah, Milo is my dog. He's behind me. He's right here, actually. Milo, put your head up. He's a little pity, but
Look at him.
he's responsible for like probably at least 5,000 steps a day for me. We go on 3 20-minute walks. You know what I mean? So, and it sucks. We live in New England, but the dog's got to be walked. So, great point, Sean. You know what I mean? Use your furry little helpers. You know what I'm saying? They're a great excuse.
Yep. So yeah, you brought up the app, and what is it like for somebody when they're actually going to approach the app for the first time? I know you and I have talked about this, but like for anybody who's curious about, getting into the app, like what's it going to be like? What can they expect as they start to approach your whole program?
So the first thing they do is on my website, bodylanguage.design. I didn't feel like paying $10,000 a year for the .com domain, so it's bodylanguage.design. If you go on there, you can fill out the initial consultation form. That'll give me a lot of information. I mean, obviously your contact information. I'm not going to spam you with a bunch of advertisements after, so there's really no obligation. But it's going to ask you things like your age, your body type, your fitness level, your experience with exercise. But like, I make it kind of fun. So like, when I ask you your body type, it's like, skinny as fuck, dad bod, athletic, thick. You know what I mean? So it's kind of fun and interactive. But from there, we'd get on a phone call and I would ask you more questions, more about like what your goals are. There isn't a ton of questions like that. The consultation form only takes 4 minutes. So then we jump on a call or a Zoom and I can really get a concrete idea of what your capabilities are and then what your goals are. So I can build a program designed specifically for your capabilities to match your goals. So once you get on the app, it's a little questionnaire. And then once you create a user and a login, you download the actual app. And then once you're on there, I upload the workouts. You can see all of them. There's video demonstrations of everything. There's set and rep ranges. So you kind of just plug it in as you go. So if you're doing like a dumbbell bench press, it will show you a video of it. And then I will tell you to do like 3 sets at 8 to 12 reps. And the best part is when you log into it, it shows the weight and reps you used the week before. So it gives you an opportunity to try to do more weight or more reps. And that is what we call progressive overload, which I'm sure is a buzz term that you've heard. And then there's communication through there. So it's a messaging feature. I usually drip out like some informational articles and stuff to all my clients once every week or so. And then anytime you need an update to the program, I just ask for 24 hours. So if you're like, hey, listen, these lunges are hurting my knee, can we swap them out? No problem. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how it works once you start going. And then everything's phased. So if you're on a 3-month program, your first 4 weeks are going to be in a certain rep range. There's going to be a certain amount of rest time between your sets. And then after 4 weeks, we swap out a couple exercises and we change up the rep and rest time. So your first 4 weeks, you might be doing 2 to 5 reps, lifting a little heavier, trying to really tune that nervous system. And then after 4 weeks, we'll put you in hypertrophy, which is like that bodybuilder type. So less compound exercises, more of the isolated, like you were talking about a bicep curl versus like a bent over row. That's going to involve your biceps and your back. And then an endurance phase. So typically we run 3-month programs. You can cancel at any time, so there's no obligation. If you don't log in for like 20 days, I can't get a hold of you. If you just fell off the fucking earth, then I just deactivate you so you don't continue to be billed. I'm not Netflix. I'm not going to run that as my subscription service. But yeah, and then I check in with you once a week, depending upon what program you choose. There's a base model, which is only $30 a month, where you kind of just get your program and do your own thing. That's for more advanced lifters, someone like you, Sean, that's already in a routine, but just wants a little more guidance. I can still update it. And then for $85 a month, you get a weekly phone call, a weekly check-in. You get a complimentary nutrition guide. So it has a bunch of meal prep recipes and everything on there. And then there's the helicopter parent. So that's like $150 a month to $180. I check in with you 3 days a week. We have 3 phone calls. We're doing body statistics and everything like that. That's why it's called the helicopter parent. So that's kind of how it goes after, you sign up. But, again, trying to bridge that gap between really expensive interpersonal training and generic programming, like something like the Peloton app.
See, and I love that.
That's pretty sweet.
I love that. And another great thing, guys, because listen, Blake and I have talked about this a lot. Not everybody is in a position to make some of those kind of financial commitments. It's tough. Everybody's hurting for cash. The man does give a lot of great tips and information on his Instagram. And I highly recommend that if you can't if you can't, get into this, but you still want to, take some of the advice that Blake's been giving you in this episode and, continue to absorb, his input on subjects, go give him a follow on Instagram. There's a lot of great information you guys are going to get. And it'll really help you to, make some stronger decisions when you're making, your healthy choices. So please plug that Instagram for me.
Yeah, and even if you just want a consultation, like listen, if you go to my Instagram, you go to my website and you fill out a consultation and I give you a call, at the very least you're going to get 30 minutes of me talking your ear off, giving you great practical gym advice for your future. If you don't sign up, that's perfectly fine. As a matter of fact, I give most people their first month free. So even if you're like, shit, I like that, I can't afford it, but I'll try a month, that's fine. You know what I mean? It's more, I bet you're going to like it and you're going to talk about it. So it's advertising for me anyway. You know what I mean? So don't be afraid to reach out to me with any specific questions you have. Sean will tell you I host TED Talks at work all the time because I'm so passionate about fitness. So once you get me going, you know what I mean, I will just fucking rant. So it's not hard to get free information from me.
Yeah, guys. I mean, at the end of the day, I think anybody who gets themselves kind of centered into a world of health and fitness, even, just like a simple person like me, at the end of the day, all we want is for people to, as Chris would say, live their best life. Like we want you to, be healthier, live longer, and enjoy your life more comfortably. Because like for me, that was one of the big signals to getting into the gym was like, I remember, working out at home and making that decision because I had sat in this chair for an episode of this podcast. And after the 2.5 hours I was in that chair to record the show, when I went to go stand up, I couldn't, and I fell straight to my knees because my muscles in my whole posterior chain are so weak that those few hours of sitting in that chair had rendered me useless. It was at that time I realized like this isn't healthy and I have to start taking this shit seriously. So I did, the simplest thing I could find on the internet, which was just body weight exercise. I thought back to gym in elementary school, do the little rotations they made you do, like all that beginner shit I was doing in elementary school. And don't get me wrong, I felt ridiculous for the first couple days. But as the first week went by and then the first month went by, all of a sudden my back didn't hurt. And, I was able to actually do the things I enjoyed doing without pain and exhaustion quickly. And I went, okay, there's something to this. And it started to get me in that mindset. And it's what got me to where I am now, where I eventually made the decision like, all right, trying to do it at home is not enough. I need the next step. And then I made that decision. Everybody's path is going to be different. Everybody's goals are going to be different. But I promise you, folks, if you just give yourself 15 minutes a day to start, do the basicest things from elementary school gym class. 10 jumping jacks, 15 jumping jacks, do 10 or 15 sit-ups, do some push-ups, do some light, spin the arms, move your hips around. Trust me, you'll start to feel better immediately within a week or two, because you're going to start to get your body moving more than it has been. And then it's going to be hard not to want to add a little bit more.
And just simply stretching. You
Dude,
know what I mean?
mobility
Getting up in the
exercise,
morning and just doing
yes.
some simple stretches, your shoulders, your back, your hammies, things like that. Those are big too, because that's going to help you just from, simple, just, everyday little injuries that could happen just from stepping wrong. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden something gets overextended, you know what I mean? Because you haven't fucking stretched it in too long, you know what I mean? There's things like that. Because that's something I do every morning now. Not only because it's part of like our morning, meeting at work, but it's just something I've noticed a big difference on is, getting up in the morning getting my little caffeine or whatever, and then getting to work. And then before we even start doing anything, we sit there and we stretch for about 5 minutes. Doesn't take long. 5 minutes, you know what I mean? Just that little bit helps so much. I'm telling you.
Choose your hard. You know what I mean? Living healthy can be hard, but living unhealthy is harder. You know what I mean? Not being responsible with your finances makes things hard, but being responsible with your financing, it's hard, but it makes things easier overall.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to choose your hard. And having someone like me as a resource, I always say having a personal trainer is like having a therapist. Not everyone needs one, but everyone could use one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A little bit of guidance that, you
Yeah.
may need that you didn't know you needed,
100%. 100%.
Because that's what I feel like a lot of people get scared is because they don't know where to start. You know what I mean? If they can at least just have a little bit of a blueprint to be like, hey, this is where you can begin. And then at a certain point, you can end up here if that's what you're trying to do. Like just being able to have like some sort of guide to follow is such a big help. Because a lot of people I feel like get intimidated because they walk in and they're like, okay, what do I even do now? What do I start lifting this? Do I, hit the treadmill? What you know what I mean? But if they have like at least, like a simple, little workout that they can just get in there. And like you guys were saying, either 15 minutes or you want to take, a half hour, whatever you want to invest your time into. If you have at least just a blueprint of where to start, it could be a huge help.
Yeah, it definitely eliminates a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
With going in with a plan. So even if you don't have a structured plan, write your own little plan. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to go in and do squats and bench press with tricep extensions. Boom. You know what I mean? Having a plan. I mean, we plan everything else in our lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So why not plan your workouts?
Yeah, and again, like it doesn't have to be complicated. Like I know a lot of the things that we may have talked about today seem like they might be complicated, but it really doesn't have to be. Start simple. Maybe you choose one less soda and drink one more bottle of water a day. And then from there, maybe you choose one less slice of pizza for lunch and choose the salad one day. It's it's the small steps, right?
Well put. Yeah.
Switch the chips out for maybe an apple. You know what I
Right.
mean? Or like a fucking, grab some veggies and snack down on those instead of that, bag of Cheetos that you're gonna fucking tear down.
You got 30-minute break, so maybe you take a quick 10-minute walk and then take 10 minutes to have your actual lunch, right? It's all about making the small baby steps because at the end of the day, you want to live a better life. If you've made that decision, all it takes is the first step. It's it's that Newtonian law, right? An object in motion stays in motion. It works on an even more meta scale too, where once you get something in your life in motion, it wants to stay in motion. It becomes that habit. So 10 minutes becomes 15, becomes half hour, becomes hour, becomes 1 day, becomes 2, becomes 3. And next thing you know, you're looking in the mirror, not even knowing who you are. You're like, whoa.
Yeah. Small changes.
Yep.
Small changes. If you leave Cape Cod, okay, if you're on a boat heading towards England and you change that course by 2 degrees, okay, at the end of that voyage, you're going to be in Africa. Same thing with working out. You make small changes now, and in a year from now, they're going to turn into huge changes.
Yep.
It's it's a beautiful thing. Like I think today, we can summarize it all. There's a synergy to health and wellness, right? It's mind, body, spirit. It's taking care of your nutrition, your muscle building, your mobility. It's about approaching everything in a holistic approach, basically. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a holistic approach. You need to nurture all of you.
As above, so below.
Don't think I could have said that better myself. Well, shit, we are at the end of our time, so I hope all you listeners have enjoyed it. If you guys want to have Blake back, do me a favor, drop a comment, send us a email over on the website, whatever it is that you want to do to communicate to us. But being that we're at the end of the line, this is your opportunity, Blake. I'm going to turn the floor over to you. Go ahead, plug everything. Give them the website again, the Instagrams, all of it. Plug it all.
Yeah, so website is bodylanguage.design. Again, didn't want to pay for the .com, so bodylanguage.design. I have programs on there. You can also take the initial consultation. I'll give you a phone call after. The Instagram is body.language.fitfam, or you can just look up Blake Nyman. If you guys follow Sean, we are friends on there, so you can creep me on his friends list too. But thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. That was a fucking blast. I hope that you guys can have me on again, and I'll see you at work this week.
Hell yeah,
it was a pleasure meeting you guys. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
So, Uncle Chris, this is your turn. Let it rip.
All right, awesome. Oh yeah, Blake, thank you so much for coming on. And yeah, maybe I'm gonna reach out to you. We'll get some figured out for like the golf startup. I think that's gonna benefit me greatly. I'm actually like really looking forward to like all that. Like I'm looking forward to like this better season. Because like I live in the country, so like driving to a gym's like a 40-minute drive. Like there's like a lot of hurdles, but like this golf course, or even just like once the weather's better and like walking around here on my property is going to be pretty sweet. So I'm looking forward to it, and I wouldn't mind, finding out some more information. So I'd love you to come back to you at some point for sure. There's no doubt in my mind. So thank you very much for coming on. Everybody listening, appreciate you guys. Of course, if you guys want, you can check me out on Tuesday nights on KBTV's YouTube channel for Mixing It Up, just a little e-liquid mixing show. You can check Sean, James, and myself on Friday nights on the Frame Shankle Vapor YouTube channel for The Green Room. It's at 8 o'clock. Come by, check it out. It's just vibes lots of the time. And lastly, yeah, go to shedtimepodcast.com. I bet you any money that there'll be links for Blake and any information that he might have shared that'll probably end up being on the website. So anybody listening to this down the road, I'm sure that you'll probably be able to check that out in case like you forgot to write any of it down. Because at this point, you should know shedtimepodcast.com. And I think that that's everything for me. So everybody be safe and live your best life. Frames.
All right. I think Chris pretty much covered everything, but I do want to say thank you again, Blake, for joining us, dude. It was a great conversation. I feel like not only did we get to learn a lot of great information, but our listeners will be able to gain a lot as well. And hopefully you guys utilize those links if you are looking, to get more into your fitness and those sorts of things, or you're looking for a little guidance. I think Blake's your man. So definitely go check him out. And thank you again. We'll definitely have to have you on again in the future, maybe after some of us have implemented some of the things we've learned, and we can kind of maybe give you a little update and be like, hey man, this is where I'm at now, dude, thanks to those little gems you dropped on us. So also, if you guys listening end up taking advantage of some of these things, let us know. Like Sean said, hit us up. You know what I mean? We always love hearing success stories. So definitely shoot those our way. With that, you can check us out on Friday over on my YouTube channel for a little green room episode. If you guys are looking, for some vape oriented content, you can check that out. Other than that, we'll be here in the shed doing things we always do. Check out 5-star reviews. If you guys want to drop some, that helps us in the algorithms, lets us pop up, helps more people find out about the shed and all the great guests we have. So definitely do that. And with that, I'm going to end as I always do, sending up positive vibes, crisp high fives, and a little dab or bag. We'll do ya. Sean.
Oh, yeah. So, guys, one last time, big thank you to Blake for joining us. Definitely seems unanimous. We're going to have you back. I'm pretty sure that the listeners out there will agree as well, because we only scratched the surface. There's so much more we can talk about. So definitely going to make sure we do that. Guys, when it comes to great guests, James ain't lying. We're going to have another great guest coming up real soon. We get to check in with the brother Breeze Tones.
Oh, let's go.
Into the podcast very soon. That's going to be coming up. And it's very appropriate too, because Brother Breeze Tones is also a fitness buff himself. And so maybe we'll be able to spark some conversation with him in relation to this one, and get some of his takes as well to give you guys some more thoughts from another perspective. But with all of that, guys, you know what to do. Shedtimepodcast.com. You can find us on the Instagram. You can find us on YouTube at Shedtime Studios. Thank you all so much for tuning in week after week. It really does blow our mind. It means the world to us. It's a complete honor. You could spend an hour and a half with anybody, and you choose to spend it with us. So thank you all so much. And with that, I'm going to bring it to a close like I always do. Remember, don't let the bastards get you down. Be cool. Don't be a dick. And whatever it is that you do, be sure to have some fun, because it's the Shed Time Podcast, and we're about to roll on up and roll on out.
Dynavap, Dynavap, Dynavap. Looking to cut the cord on your dry herb vape? Dynavap. Trying to get the best taste from your herb? Dynavap. Ready to take your sesh to the next level? Then meet Dynavap, the best way to vape your flower or concentrate. Concentrates? That's right, your flower or hash can be vaped using Dynavap. Check out Dynavap.com to learn more. That's Dynavap.com. Lose the ash? Dynavap.
What's going on, Shedheads? It's your boy Frames Janklin. Are you looking to step up your match game or have a raw copper, brass, or stainless mod or RDA that you're absolutely tired of polishing? Then you need to go and hit up my man Ashton at Palmer's Powders. He does some absolutely amazing powder coating work. He offers many different colors and finishes at an absolutely killer price. This man is taking powder coating to a whole new level, and he can make your setup an absolute masterpiece. You can go follow him over on Instagram at Palmer's Powders, and you can go check out pricing on his website, palmerspowders.com. That's palmerspowders.com. And as always, let's just vape on, Shedheads.
I want you to think of your favorite rebuildable right now. Yeah, okay, so you have a layer cake in your hand, and now you're about... Oh, sorry, yeah, that's not everyone's favorite. That's just mine. So think of your favorite rebuildable atomizer. Think about how good of a vape it produces for you. Now, take that and amplify it. And the way that you amplify that is you put in some Breezestone coils. Breezestone coils are handcrafted in Adelaide, Australia. They're made from some of the finest quality wire that you can get. I believe it's Wire Buddha. You take those coils, you take them out of that phenomenal packaging that clearly shows how much care that Adam puts on the quality of his coils and the insurance that you get them in good shape. You put them in that favorite RDA, and guess what? You have coils that now sing better than Celine Dion. Go check out Breezestone coils. You can find them on localvape.com and also steelvalleyvapors.com. Solid.
Yeah, I need to start doing some push-ups, I think, bro. I need to start doing something.
Club Sinister for life, yo.